Hey, what's going on, parents? If we haven't got the chance to meet, my name is Will Perry. I'm the lead student pastor here at Hope Fellowship. Go Dallas Mavericks. Let's go. Who knows how it will go against the Warriors. Anyways.
Hopefully will.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we're hopeful.
Right next to me is Kiera Watson, somebody whose email all of you know, but whose face you may not. I think that's like my favorite way to introduce you right now.
I think it is.
It is. Because it's true. Because she does a lot of communicating, a lot of details, a lot of management. She's a backbone to our ministry, so keeping us organized and a lot of times keeping us from doing dumb things. So thank you, Kiera. It's great.
You're welcome. I love it.
Hey, so for many of you, this is going to be the first time that your middle schooler or your high schooler is going to summer camp. So thank you, first off, for sending them. We don't take it lightly that you trust us with your teenager, with your middle schooler, your high schooler, and we take that very seriously. And there's a lot of details that we're going to go through and hopefully eliminate a lot of the questions. But if you do have questions, please write them down, take a note of them while you're listening to this video or watching this video. And in the email that was sent to you too, the parent packet was attached to that. So if there's a way to kind of put these side by side and to kind of go through these together with you and your spouse, or maybe you're a guardian out there and you have somebody that you're watching over right now, a student can be in there with you while we're talking about this too. Mm-hmm. So if you're wondering. To get things started off, I do want to say our theme for summer camp is simply the phrase "I am." We're kind of hitting that from many different scriptures. We're starting night one with Jesus talking about "I am the way, the truth, and the life." The purpose that you're looking for, the desire that you're looking for to have purpose is found in the great I am. It's found in Jesus, who made a way where there was no way. Other things that we're talking about at camp have to do. It's all circled around that of this is who I say I am. This is who other people say that I am, but who does God say that I am? We're talking about that at camp, as well as at the very end, we're going to be talking about how you are, like I am, the purpose, that God's hands and feet that can reach the world one person at a time. So that is our theme for camp. Typically, sometimes we have a verse. It's more of a phrase with a lot of different verses. It's all throughout Scripture. Mm-hmm. We'll be even talking about Moses, who do I say send? Who sent me? How do I prove to someone that I'm following a deity? And God said, tell them I am sent you. God is the great I am. And our speakers at camp, middle school camp for our night sessions is Zach Green. He's back for the third year that we've had him at summer camp. I love Zach. And I've known him for a long time. He connects so well with middle schoolers, specifically and teenagers of all kinds. And for high school, we're actually doing those messages in-house. So there'll be a different speaker every single night, including myself. Including Pastor Mary, our online pastor, and other people on staff at Hope Fellowship. So that is a introduction to camp. Now, Kiera, what's the first thing to be looking for on this parent pack that we're all looking at right now?
So the first thing that you will see is information on check-in. Middle school, you will check in first because your camp dates are June 4th through the 7th. So all check-ins for middle school and high school are going to be at the McKinney campus. If you've been there, great. If not, the address is included on here. Please note that it is at the McKinney campus, not Frisco East.
Yeah. We do have confusion on that.
We do. I feel like there's always a little bit of confusion on that. So it will be at the McKinney campus off of University Drive in McKinney. So make sure that you go there.
Yeah. And since it's on a Saturday, kind of in lunch, the traffic shouldn't be horrible.
No,
but it's not usually great at the intersection that it's near.
Yeah.
And if you have a middle schooler and a high schooler, it's the same spot. So on Tuesday, if you're dropping off your high schooler, and then you're dropping them off at the same place you'll pick up your middle schooler.
Yep, makes it nice and easy. So check-in will start at 1 o'clock p.m. It'll start at 12:30 if you're dropping off medication. You don't have to come at 12:30 if you're dropping off medication, but we're just kind of trying to get that check-in process started a little bit sooner because it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So you can come a little bit early if you are dropping off medication. And then on the 7th, when middle school gets back, on the 11th, when high school gets back, pickup will be at around 12:15 p.m. Also at the McKinney campus.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. We have emergency contacts, which is Kira and I's emails that are in there. We're going to be checking them off and on throughout the day as much as we can. We don't have great service out there, but we're going to be checking them. And say you have a family emergency, what we do have on us that does work no matter where we're at the camp are walkie-talkies with Alasso Ranch. So the Alasso Ranch address as well as the phone number is right there that you can call and say, hey, God forbid anything happens. I hope nothing happens in our families, but say something happens, you can call Alasso. They will walkie-talkie us, and then we will immediately get their student, get them ready if they need to leave, take them to their cabin, have them pack and that kind of thing too. So our emergency contacts are there.
Yeah, absolutely. The next thing is forms. There are 4 forms that we will need from you. They're all listed here. If you have completed those online already, thank you. It's
best.
very, very helpful for us to get those in early so that we can get them all sorted and all of that stuff. So with that, if you have not completed them yet, I know that in the past, a lot of people have turned in forms in person, and if you have to do that, that's great. But I want to highly encourage you to turn in those forms online via the link on HelloSign, or you can email them to students@hopefellowship.net. That way, you don't have to worry about that at check-in, and you can just kind of bypass that portion of check-in in general, which would be great.
Now, parents out there might be thinking, if I do them online before, do I still have to be with them when I drop them off?
I would encourage you to still be with them. I wouldn't say you have to be with them when you drop them off, but especially if your student's never been to camp before or you've never sent your student to camp before, it could be good for you to sit through a little bit of orientation and kind of see how the process goes. But if their forms are all completed, like if they're in high school and you just want to send them, then you definitely can.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool.
So, check-in procedures, again, check-in starts at 1 o'clock, 12:30 if you're turning in medication. All students should eat lunch prior to checking in. We will not feed them lunch. They won't eat until dinner at Alasso, so make sure that you give them some food.
Yeah, which I think is like 5:30 or 6 o'clock
5:30
too.
or 6, yeah. And they need to be wearing a swimsuit. All students will be doing a swim test right when we get to Camp Alasso, so they'll have to wear a bathing suit underneath their clothes.
Again, if you're brand new, if you've been before, you know this, but if you're brand new, you're like, why? Legally and for insurance reasons, Alasso does that. It's a swim. They're not like holding a brick swimming. They like swim to one end of the pool and then back, and that's literally it.
Yeah,
so.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Check-in stations, this kind of lays it out there for you. We will also have a ton of signage there, so I'm not going to take a ton of time going through each individual station. You can kind of look at that on your own. But I do want to note station number 4, camp mail, which we'll kind of touch on that a little bit more later. But this year, what we're going to have is a specific area for you to drop your mail. So don't go to the questions area to drop off your mail. Go to this specific area to drop off your mail.
Yeah, cool. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. She mentioned orientation. One thing that we've gotten feedback from you parents in the past and from students and from leaders too last year is that it took a little time. My middle schooler is brand new. They've never been to this church before. They're not super involved. They felt a little awkward at the start. We're going to try to tackle that during orientation. So after check-in, when people go into the auditorium from there, leaders with their team leaders, their small group leaders, will already be in the auditorium broken out by teams. And we'll actually have some team competition. The leaders, again, will be there to welcome them. Oh, what's up? And a high five. And we're going to, this year, we're being more strategic with that about getting the ice broken before we get to camp so that it doesn't feel awkward at check-in to orientation to bus, then to camp, and then finally they feel comfortable. We're going to try to make them feel more comfortable earlier. So
absolutely.
That is going to be fun, that orientation part. Next up is the medication policy. All students must turn in the medical consent form. Now, one thing with that, specifically with prescription medication, to send them with prescription medication, it has to be, correct me if I'm wrong, legally it has to be in the original packaging. It has to be in the original container that says how many pills during what time of the day and how many times and that kind of stuff.
Even over the counter too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It can't
all
be
of
in
it
like
has
a
to be
Ziploc.
in. Yeah, all of it
Yeah.
has to be in the original container.
Yeah, and I'll say our camp nurses, they have, they'll have like headache stuff. What is it? Acetaminophen. Oh, yeah, that's a medical term.
Yeah,
for
Advil,
Advil.
ibuprofen.
Yeah, we'll have that, so you don't have to send them with that. But any kind of vitamins, vitamins, protein powder, that needs to be checked in. I'm gonna have I take creatine every day. That'll be with the nurse. Don't tell anyone. It's HIPAA laws. But that'll be with the nurse. So all of that has to be with the nurse. Again, in the off chance, hopefully nothing happens, but in the off chance that something happens with your student, we have to go to the hospital. The nurses write down everything that they have taken and all that, even cough drops. Be with the nurses, and we'll have cough drops and stuff. But anything else on medication?
I don't think so. I think you
Covered it all. Make sure to pick up medication.
Yes.
When you come back.
We do almost always have medication left with us,
and
we don't want your medication, so please come and take it.
No, we're not. Okay, I was gonna make jokes. No, it does happen every year. You know, people. It's just one thing that kind of falls through the cracks. We'll have a place that your student and you can pick up the medication. So make sure to grab their bag. Next up is food. We do provide 3 full meals a day, and it is good for camp food.
It is pretty good camp food.
It's pretty good camp food. The orange chicken is back.
Yeah. Yep.
It's orange chicken.
I think we're running it twice.
Ooh. Well, one for each camp?
I think so.
Let's go. That's my favorite meal. I used to be outvoted, but it is.
It's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I saying with food? Oh.
Yeah. 3 meals.
3 meals, and then we're asking not to send them with snacks. And I say by us, Camp Alasso itself is asking for us to not send them with snacks. However, you can send them. We have late night activities, and there's like silent disco. There's snacks, the late night swim, and we'll get to those late night activities specifically what they are. We have free cone ice for any event, free snow cones. So there's different spots for your student to get snacks here and there. We'll talk more when we get to the packing list about like money, but if they want snacks, I think it'd be better to send them with cash or your card versus like sending them with snacks.
Yeah.
Now you more than likely all of you have done this. You've already put in the food allergies. You've already put in food allergies, vegetarian, gluten-free. You don't have to put. They have a peanut allergy. The whole camp is nut-free. There's none of that at the campgrounds. Yeah. Not in the leader snacks, not in the meals. No, it's a camp-free, nut-free campgrounds. There we go. And it's kind of hard to say.
It is.
However, if you're like, I didn't put anything or something new has come up, just email students@hopefellowship.net. Now, anything on meals?
Nope.
Sweet.
You're great.
Doing a great job here. Next up is mail call. Kira kind of mentioned this before. We do a mail call for each day. So if you want to write a letter beforehand, this is what we started encouraging parents last year to do this, is instead of mailing them to the camp directly, which you can mail them to the camp directly. If you do, I would say mail it way in advance so that it's for sure there, because what has happened in the past is parents have sent letters with cash in it, an encouragement, and then it arrived after camp. And then, so they're like, I couldn't buy anything, and you're like, I sent you money. And then Alassa's like, we have this big thing of mail, here you go. And they're like, okay. And then we reach out, we don't hear, and these letters sit around for a couple years. So, all that to say, if you want to mail it out, mail it way in advance. And then, or like Kira said, there's going to be a spot that you can drop them off. Now, what are those? It can be funny stuff. It might be their birthday. If it's their birthday, we want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Email us if it's their birthday, please.
We want to sing happy birthday. Give them. There's a points wheel for their team. They can spin the points wheel. We want to embarrass them as much as possible on your behalf. Have fun. So, write that. Or you could do a funny one, and the very first one is more serious of like, hey, this is what I'm praying for you this week at summer camp, that you would encounter God in this way. So there you go.
Yep. Great.
Volunteers?
Yeah, volunteers. Every year we bring Hope student staff as well as our leaders and some co-leaders for middle school camp. And then Camp also has their own staff, but just to kind of give you guys a little bit of peace of mind, especially if this is your first time sending your kid, all of our volunteers are required to go through our volunteer pipeline, which does include a background check, as well as like all of our pastoral approval and a training specifically for summer camp. Yeah. So our volunteers are very well prepared for camp, and I think that that's a huge thing that hopefully kind of puts your mind at ease if you've been a little bit worried about it. So
yeah, and I believe it's taking between staff and volunteers over 150.
I think so. Yeah,
over 150 people to make summer camp happen. So if you're watching this, maybe you're a parent and also a volunteer, thank you again.
Yes.
We already told you that on Saturday. If you're at the training, and I know if you weren't, you were out of town for very important reasons. And our staff is following up with all of you right now. And like she said, the high school co-leaders.
If you get to meet or your student small group leader already, thank them, because a lot of them are taking time off of work,
vacation,
in order to be at camp with your students. So this is really huge, and we're just very thankful for all of our volunteers.
Seriously, y'all, we are spoiled with the people that we get to do ministry with. It is just a stinking honor. It's awesome. Next up is cell phone policy. I would personally like to highly encourage you to make them keep their cell phone at home. Please keep their cell phone at home. Every year, it becomes a fight, and because every year, not with every student, I wouldn't even say with the vast majority of students, but every year there's a handful of students who either don't want to be there or they are just used to looking at their phone. And on one end, they need the sleep. There's not a ton of sleep at camp, so they need the sleep, and cell phones can keep you up. We do turn off the guest Wi-Fi, so there's no way for them to connect to Wi-Fi, and there is no cell service out there. That's why we gave you Kira and I's emails and not our cell phones, because our cell phones wouldn't help. Our emails would. Because the guest Wi-Fi is on, we put a password on it so that staff can be on it so that we can look for your emails. I would, again, highly encourage you just to have them leave their phone at home. I'm going to get to this here in a second, but I've hired a professional photographer to take pictures, and his name is Andrew. He took pictures last year. He took over 900 pictures at camp. He will capture moments that you and your student can enjoy later. They don't need their cell phone. They don't.
And leaders will have phones too.
Yes.
So if their small group wants to take pictures or something like that, their leader will be with them with a cell phone, so they can capture that for them and send it to them later too.
Yeah, that's very true. And also, if you do, at the end of the day, it's up to you. You can send them with their phone. You can make me the bad guy and say, hey, Pastor Will said you couldn't have your cell phone. That's great. Make me the bad guy. You don't have to be the bad guy. I'm mad at my mom, mad at my dad, mad at whoever. You don't have to do it. You say, Pastor Will said to not let you go with your phone. You don't blame me, blame him. That's great. Blame me, okay? I'll be the bad guy. However, if you do send them with their cell phone, we did train our volunteers to say, if this becomes a distraction, if during free time, if they're in the cabin or they're just walking around looking for cell service, take up their phone. We got your back. Take up the cell phone. If the cell phone is open and out during messages, during services, during small groups, take up their cell phone, or come talk to us and we will take up their cell phone. And then towards the end of camp or later on, maybe we don't wait until the very end of camp, but later on we will give that back. Obviously, we're not going to keep it forever. If you have questions about that, you can email me directly at wperry@hopefellowship.net. Again, I would just highly encourage you to leave their cell phone at home.
Yeah. Speaking of pictures and updates throughout the week, we have some social media that we will be posting those on. So our Instagram is at Hope Students Texas, TX, not spelled out.
Yeah, TX.
So it's Hope Students TX. It's in your parent packet. And then we also have
parent Facebook pages. There is a page specifically for parents of students at Hope Fellowship. And if you haven't joined that yet, we've got like 1,000 people on there, 1,000 parents on there. So join that. We put in promo codes. We kind of give updated information, inclement weather stuff in the future, reminders for deadlines, and even just looking for like feedback from y'all on how to best resource you and all of that stuff, as well as we do have a Facebook page for Hope students as well. And in order to get that, just search Hope students, and then that'll pop up. We'll make sure that is listed on here as well. Hope students, and then what we do is we post daily on the Instagram and on the Facebook. Instagram, you can only post a handful of pictures, but then in the bio, we put the link to the Facebook that has the album that is updated daily with the photographer that we're paying to do that. And again, there's a ton of pictures.
Yes.
Post one. I'll tell you this: a picture that I would love for you to tag me in on Facebook. If we're not friends on Facebook, find me, Will Perry, and then tag me in some pictures on Facebook after camp of your middle schooler and high schooler exhausted, sleeping on the couch. Every year, I get tagged in a handful of those photos, and it's one of my favorite things. It's so funny, and then oftentimes parents put in there like, hey, thanks for a great week. My kid was worn out. I'll say this too. Attached to this email, we're going to make sure and attach the resource that talks about the best ways that you can take advantage post-event. After a big event that happens with Hope students, we just have some tips on how you can best take advantage of that as a parent, because we want to set you up to win. We're not doing anything separate from you. We're here to partner with you, and so that's a resource to help you out with that. The best tip that I always give feedback on, which again I would love for your feedback on, is when you pick them up, don't ask them a million questions unless if they're ready to talk. Man, talk. When they're ready to talk, you just talk with them. But get them food right away. Yeah. ASAP. They're going to be starving, especially that morning. They have to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning that they come back to pack up, and then it's a smaller breakfast than normal.
Yeah, go get them some Whataburger.
Yes, Whataburger, Chick-fil-A, Cane's.
Cane's is Will's favorite.
Grill them a steak,
Maybe. That'd be nice.
Right? That'd be good. Anyways, yeah, and then, so get them food, and then after they eat food, and then maybe after they nap, then ask them a lot of questions about camp. But you can check that resource out to kind of get that more detailed. Camp rules. Camp rules, we're just going to go back and forth on these. Pretty obvious on these. The first one is for them to be respectful of others. If somebody is bullying, cussing someone out, being overcritical, like being super negative towards one person on that bullying side, then if it comes to a boiling point, then we will ask them to leave camp, and then we'll actually be calling you. So these rules, we do take them seriously. I can't remember the last time we called a parent. It was probably 4 years ago, maybe, that we called a parent to come pick their student up from camp because of not kind of lining up with these camp rules. But so it is a serious thing. Be respectful of others.
Yeah. Also, be respectful of property. Clean up after yourself, including trash, spills, all of that stuff. Make sure that your personal area is picked up. And respect a Lasso property. Almost every year, actually, maybe not almost every year, something gets broken.
Sometimes by staff members. Not by us.
No.
But for real, not
No,
by
for
us.
real. I've never broken anything.
No.
But we want to leave the facility ideally better than we found it, and not broken and trashed and all of that stuff. So just make sure that you're being respectful of property. It's not our camp. We are renting it out, so we want to make sure that we're respecting our staff and their property.
Yeah. Next up is rule of 3. This is might be the biggest rule that we have to emphasize with students. Is they have to be in a group of 3 at all times. It's the same thing for our adult volunteers and our high school co-leaders. And by the way, when we say high school co-leaders, those are almost all the time they're trusted high schoolers that are helping with a small group. They're never leading a small group by themselves, and they're almost always seniors in high school. So those are the high school co-leaders. A lot of times they're like, we have volunteers that are like, you bring the energy in the games because I'm too old for this. No, they're great. So rule of 3, everybody follows this rule. They have to be in a group of 3. God is always, 3 in 1. He's always in a group of 3.
Sure.
You can tell them that. That's theology. for them, they can't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere without being in a group of 3. You can't even go into someone else's cabin at all, much less in a group of 3.
Definitely not.
So they have to be in a group of 3. Like, well, my student is brand new. They don't know anybody. They will before they even get on the bus. We're going to break that ice. We're going to emphasize that rule there at orientation. And they have to. And the biggest reason for that is, say they're walking by themselves, and, I mean, we live in Texas. There's poisonous animals or whatever. There's snakes, And so, God forbid, they're walking along, there's a snake bite, they fall down. We just don't see them because they fell down in a ditch or something like that. So, group of 3 at all times, because if someone does get hurt, then one person can stay with them and the other goes and gets somebody for an emergency.
Yeah, absolutely. Students may not enter a cabin housing with or of the opposite gender, or really any cabin that's not theirs. They don't really need to be in a cabin that isn't where they're sleeping, because there are a ton of common areas to hang out. So.
Yeah. Yep. And that's another really big deal for that is, well, actually, we'll talk about that in the packing list here and what not to bring. I'll wait to get to that. Now, let's go to the packing list. Yeah.
Bring a Bible. Bring bedding. All of the students will be in bunk beds, and the beds are twin size, so you can bring twin size sheets, sleeping bag. Make sure that they bring a pillow. Every year we have students who forget to bring a pillow,
and then we run to Walmart
and we get them a pillow. But sometimes they don't tell us until like night 2 or 3 of camp, and we're like, how have you been sleeping without a pillow? So please pack your student
sleep
a pillow.
on their backpack and stuff.
Please pack your student a pillow. They will need it. Towels for showers and swimming, toiletries, modest pajamas, closed-toed shoes and socks for rec time, and then jeans and long pants for horseback riding.
Yeah, jeans, long pants. Sometimes it does get cold at night. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before that it was actually in the 50s at night.
I think it was the year before
Yeah. It got a little chilly. So anyways, set it with one pair, and if they don't want to do horseback riding, that's the only thing they have to have long pants for. Is horseback riding. Also shirts, lots of shirts, lots of tank tops. I've got a different tank top for like every day. I got the tan and everything. However, guys, for the tank tops, it can be like this, but it can't be where it swoops way down here, where it like cuts out and you're like, oh, this is what your whole body looks like. Guys, none of that. And then what is it for girls?
Girls, just make sure that your undergarments are covered. So I'm not going to say like 3 or 4 fingers. Just make sure that nothing's showing. Make sure that it's a wide enough strap to where you can't see anything.
Yeah, that's great. Shorts, again, lots of shorts. Guys and girls, watch the length of those shorts. The term we're kind of adopting this year is full coverage. So believe it or not, last year we had to make guys change because a thing that is still getting popular is that guys will like have shorter and shorter shorts, and I'm not really interested what their all of their thigh looks like.
I don't think any of us are.
Nobody is, but they are.
They are. They are. It really matters.
No, so it's a popular look right now, but no, like get halfway in that leg and then they sit down. You're like, it pulls up. So guys and girls, just full coverage on that, and then just talk with them about it. Be wise with the short end of that, and then if we do have to have them change or that kind of thing, then we will.
Yep.
So.
Extra clothes. Our days get messy. They will be sweaty. They will want multiple changes of clothes for each day. So make sure that you pack more than just one set of clothes for a day. Yeah.
And look at the weather,
Yes,
because it
also that.
Last year for middle school camp, it rained. And everybody's shoes got super soaked, and then people only brought one pair of tennis shoes. Yep. So just look at the weather. Be wise on that kind of thing. Did you mention insect repellent or flashlight?
Nope. Flashlight.
Oh, okay.
It gets dark at camp. Yeah. You have to walk a long way from the cabin to the auditorium. So bring a flashlight, especially since they won't have their phones. Yep. Hat and sunglasses. That's also always super helpful.
So helpful.
Insect repellent. The mosquitoes and stuff can get real bad at camp.
The little wristband things.
They work most. They work most of the time.
Just get 4 of them.
Yeah, I would. I would make sure that you bring insect repellent as well, and sunscreen.
Yeah.
Sunscreen.
Yeah.
Please bring sunscreen.
Yeah.
Even if you don't normally burn.
Every year there's like one person that comes and you're like, oh, you look like a normal person, and then they're like a lobster.
Yes.
On day 2 or
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring sunscreen.
Swimsuit size, like I said, you can see this in the packet. We are saying full coverage. So there's a little bit of a change here, and we've been trying to figure out what do we do with swimsuits in the swim center, and what's best for that and everything. We've landed on this year trying something new out, and guys, long enough shorts and not tight. Okay, not super tight shorts. Make them long enough. Last year I had to have a whole friend group of 3. I'm like, dudes, you got to come with me. Like, we see you, and so come on, And then, and for girls, last year we maybe the last 2 years we've said one piece.
Yeah, the last 2 years we've said one piece.
So this year, what we're gonna say is be a modest swimsuit. It can be one piece, it can be two piece. Just make that full coverage, and that's a term that a lot of us guys don't know, but every girl knows the term full coverage. Yep. And if a call needs to be made, again, please, parents, if there's one thing you're like, show me ... that you're taking to camp, if there's one thing, please make it be this. Make sure you approve of this. At full coverage, modest, full coverage, and then if a conversation just has to be had, it'll probably be the campus staff that has that conversation with your child. But hopefully we won't have to have that conversation at all. Flip-flops, you want something to wear in the shower.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't always want to have like tennis shoes to walk around. And then again, like we said, look at the weather. It might get cold at night. Sometimes it gets cold in the buildings, like the auditoriums.
Yes, the auditorium is almost always cold.
Yeah.
So if you get cold easily, for sure, bring a sweatshirt or a light jacket. For that. Theme night clothing, we'll go over theme nights here in a little bit. Bring special clothes for those.
Yep.
Spending money for the camp store.
Yeah. $30.
Yeah. I wouldn't send them with too much.
No.
They have some really great merchandise, but honestly, in my opinion, some of it's very overpriced.
Yeah. They do have like McFlurry looking things.
Yeah, and they have snacks, and some of it's really good.
I think those were like $5.50 last year.
I think so.
$4.50.
Yeah,
for
$4.50
like one
or
of those.
$5. Yeah.
So yeah, if you send them with $30,
They
feel
should
like
be
you'll
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
It's only a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a reusable water bottle.
Yes.
Reusable water bottle.
Yes.
In the past, we've provided these. This year, we're not, because we find them all over everywhere. If
Nobody
they bring
uses
their
them.
own water bottle, they're more likely to keep up with it.
Yeah.
So
we would use a lot of money of the camp budget that would go to water bottles that nobody used.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we're providing to 900 people, and so they weren't the best quality, so nobody ever used them.
Yep.
So we're like, cool.
It's true.
That's great.
What to leave at home? Alcoholic beverages, tobacco products, or drugs.
No vapes.
Yeah, no vapes, none of that. As well as fireworks, knives, weapons, firearms, balloons, or balloon launchers. If we are using balloons or balloon launchers, we will have that for you. So don't bring that to camp with you.
Yeah, and we're in Texas. A lot of people carry around pocket knives all the time. We have to take those up every year.
Yep.
They just can't have a knife.
Yeah.
It's just one of the camp rules. Another thing is electronics. Again, iPhones, I'm asking, please don't send them with the iPhones. iPads, Nintendo Switches, just don't send them with electronics.
Yeah.
It's a good detox time. It's a good time to get them out of their norm. Like we've kind of said, like, man, the Rule of 3, big deal to be in a Rule of 3. That way stuff doesn't get stolen. We have to deal with that kind of stuff every year. So please don't send them with valuable things that other people would want to take on the electronic side. And then, that's what I said. Or sometimes guys bring like tennis shoes that they're like, these are my really nice shoes.
That's true. And girls too, like any
Don't
of them.
bring the
Don't bring nice things.
No.
You're at camp.
Don't bring Lululemon. Go to Walmart for temporary stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next up, we only got a couple more things. We're out of here. Sample schedule this is going to be fairly across the board. Breakfast in the morning, Devos morning session. It's kind of a more chilled service, chill service. And then games. That'll be games for middle school. For high school, it's a little bit different because of the added day. We just kind of extended the morning, so high schoolers actually get to sleep in longer than middle school.
And we do too.
And we do. I can't wait. Games, lunch, rec games. Everybody has rec games at that time. Some at the field, the next day, some at the pool, and then the Ironman is around the entire campgrounds. Free time, that's where they sign up for activities like giant swing. It's a cool campground.
Yeah.
Giant swing, horseback riding, archery tag. They have a swim center, zip lines, mountain bike trails, disc golf.
Yep. Yeah, a ton of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they can do all that, and then we have dinner, night session, and late night fun.
Yeah. Theme nights. We mentioned bring clothes for theme nights. Here are your theme nights. Middle school, night 1 will be a pool luau, so it's like Hawaiian themed. And then night 2 will be late night Owasso, which is like a game show hosted by our very own Nate Stuckey.
Nate Stuckey.
Prosper
student pastor.
Yeah, so Late Night Owasso is just kind of a game show, so they don't need to bring any extra clothes for that necessarily. And then night 3 will be a neon dance party. We do silent disco every year with the headphones.
It's
It's really
cool.
fun.
Yeah. YouTube it.
We'll make sure that we post some videos of that too, so that you guys get
cool.
to see it, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then high school, we'll start with the neon dance party, silent disco. And then night 2 will be late night Owasso. Night 3, which I'm super excited about this night.
Yeah,
it'll be s'mores and worship, and some extra small group time for our high schoolers. So it's going to be super great, super fun.
Yeah.
And then the last night is a pool luau. So again, Hawaiian themed. Yep, late night swim.
And we have Kona Ice
Yeah.
at those that day 1 for middle school, day 4, last day for high school, and it's free. You don't have to send them with money for that. So they will get snacks kind of throughout. Last thing, which all of you have been sticking around because you're wondering when we're going to mention them, is the camp cabin assignments, which is also the team assignments. If you look down here, let me just read this. Cabin assignments are created based off of gender, grade, and campus, and we did our best to match all of the rooming requests that we can. When you registered, we asked just 2 or 3, and then it is one of the hardest things that we have to do to figure out. A lot of work goes into that. All cabin assignments are final. If you have a question about your student's cabin assignment, please just email students@hopefellowship.net and then click that link and then scroll to find, you'll see one is labeled middle school guys, middle school girls, high school guys, high school girls, and you'll be able to kind of go through there and look at the team color. There's different, it's not like an animal this year, it's like the wildfire and heat wave and stuff like that, but there is a color that goes to each team. And then, you got, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Or 2.5, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
A while to be able to kind of get some stuff in their color. And then now if you're brand new to this and you're like, what do we buy? A t-shirt would be fine.
Yeah.
If you're like
t-shirt,
color
bandana.
t-shirt. Yeah, bandanas are great.
Yeah, and they're cheap.
Yeah. You just want to send them. I always buy a pack of white shirts and I'm good for like the week. And then so if you want to send them with white shirts, tank tops, and then some like colored bandanas for their team, you'd be more than fine. So you can click that link, and I think that's all that I think we covered everything.
I think so.
Cool. All right. Man, thank you all again for sending your student praying and believing for big things. Camp is always a ton of fun, but we pray that the best part is always what God does in them, and ultimately, as a result, what God does through them. So we'd love to hear your post-camp stories, or maybe even if you want to email us, talking about what you're praying for your student leading up to camp. We'd love to hear that, love to be praying for you, praying with you. And I'll pray real quick, and we'll head out of here. Jesus, I pray that everything we do is for your glory and for your name, God. Nothing about this is for us to feel good about ourselves, or to check any kind of Christian to-do box. None of that. Instead, what we do is just try to follow your will for your people that you've blessed us to steward, the children that you've allowed us to speak into. And God, I pray for every parent out there that you would, or that this summer camp would be an answer to so many of their prayers, for friendships to be made, for decisions to submit their lives to you to be made, and for all of us to see you clear and your purpose for our life. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. See y'all.